Misty, Chris Harrison here, and with Main Place Real Estate. And Misty, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Well, welcome everyone that's tuning in either live or after the fact here. But this is something first time we've been doing this, so Misty said she's a little nervous, but she's going to do just fine. And I'm not nervous, which means I'll probably screw something up. So with that, I want to do a quick introduction. But what this is really the state of the housing market. And I'm going to let Misty introduce herself. But she's in Northern Virginia and I'm in Central Illinois. We worked together in the past, and I'll let her talk about that also, of kind of how we know each other. And so if anyone has any questions, we want you to chime in either in the chat or after the fact. We can put it in the comment and provide direct access to. So with that, Misty Lee, would you please introduce yourself?
Like Chris said, my name is Misty Lee. I'm in the Northern Virginia area. Chris and I know each other from past. We both were actually in the banking industry. I was on the mortgage residential side, and Chris is on the commercial in the lending area. So having that background, both of us, is that's what kind of really brings us together, just to make this relationship kind of unique compared to other relationships.
Yes. So you were a mortgage lender. You were a mortgage lender here in Illinois. What was the process of moving from Illinois to Virginia? I mean, not necessarily business related. I don't think. I've never heard this story. So how'd you end up in Virginia?
So it did not start off business related.
Okay.
I actually moved back in 2019, the summer of 2019. I just wanted a change of scenery, just something new. I was still young and just was looking for like a little bit of a different direction. My immediate family, my brothers live in Georgia. So my option was Georgia or Virginia because I have some family out here too as well. So I was like, well, let me go somewhere where I'm not immediately with my brothers, but somewhere where I can kind of start my own journey outside of family, where I have minimum family, but just enough to make it feel comfortable. Sure. Especially coming to one of the most expensive areas in the United States.
Yeah.
And with that too, obviously it was a journey, trying to figure everything out. So initially when I came out here, I was like, well, I'll just get a job, a 9-to-5 job. Obviously this area is known for the government. You have the military, you have Washington, D.C., which is 20 miles from me. You have contractors too, which contracts through the government, and then plus a lot of corporate jobs too as well. So I was like, well, I'll just start off just getting a 9-to-5 when I came out here. And because I have real estate experience, I was like, well, I'll just work on getting my real estate license. I didn't really know if I wanted to go back into mortgage lending because obviously we know how crazy that market is too.
It's a tough business.
It's a tough business, and and it's a relationship business on that side right. As well, for people to trust you, for agents to trust you, not really knowing what kind of experience and picking the right company too.
Right.
So that's a big deal too. So 6 months later, guess what happened? The pandemic.
Oh my gosh.
So
you got your real estate license though.
So in the process, anytime that you move to a different city, you want to kind of have a set income that's fixed that can pay your expenses, and then you want to have your hustle income, having said it. So something that you enjoy doing at the same time, if that's what you want to do.
Okay.
So of course the government takes a little bit longer to get into, as far as their process, their application, or you got to interview 3 or 4 times. But before that process before I could all the way get through any kind of process, 6 months later, the pandemic happened.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I had already got my real estate license. I had already been working with somebody, kind of doing open houses to kind of get my feet in the sand.
Yeah.
And it was great because I was able to learn the neighborhoods. So going into a different area, how quickly can you learn areas and neighborhoods and restaurants than to be in real estate?
Right.
So that was like a super plus for me to understand the area as quickly as I did in comparison if I wasn't in the market.
Mm-hmm. So you had your real estate license and you were already working with someone to sell houses and buy houses before the pandemic started, but you were waiting on the job, the government job.
Yes, the government job. And then
Okay.
the pandemic happened. So government obviously stopped hiring. Well, they
Right.
slowed it down, obviously, because they didn't know they were sending people home. So it's like full-fledged real estate mode now because this is my source of going to be my main income, obviously, because of the adjustment I had to do. So it actually worked out very well for me because one, obviously, we got that hustle mentality behind us.
Right.
Learned so much from Illinois. I have to, applaud everybody that helped my career, my journey. And it showed an impact here because one, I wasn't from here. I was able to adjust really quickly. We're friendly compared to people
Mm-hmm.
in the city. So
Mm-hmm.
so
They're like,
that
oh, you're from the Midwest, aren't you? You're too
yes,
nice.
yes. I'm the Midwest girl that said, excuse me all the time, but they just run you over. But having that skill helped me in real estate along with my mortgage background, because I obviously had 8 years in residential mortgages. So understanding that process helped me, and I was able to do almost 7 million in my first year, not knowing anybody.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yes,
$7 million in a completely new part of the world, really. I
yes.
mean, and different culture, different people, different, norms and pleasantries. And you did $7 million basically in a pandemic too.
In a pandemic, yes.
Yeah. And that's
So
so cool that like you went from, oh, I'm gonna get my base job and then have this hustle fund money to it just flipped on you and all of a sudden it was like, hustle's all I got.
that's all you got. That's all you got.
That's
So
awesome. Very
yes,
cool. Well, that's
yes.
awesome. So you mentioned the government and corporations. Is that the main driver there? I mean,
That
is that why people are moving there, the military and government?
so the military, government, and some corporate jobs is the main reason. You have Google in this area. Amazon is bringing out almost 2,000, over 2,000 corporate jobs right in Crystal City, which is in Arlington.
Wow.
And so you have the embassies. I mean, it's just so much that drives to this area, international. So that's one good thing about this area, that almost everybody is not from this area.
Right.
So that's one great thing because at some point somebody was new. So
Yeah.
they understand of helping each other too as well.
Awesome. Well, very good. Well, real quick then, just for anyone else watching this, can you tell us kind of if somebody was moving to that area, what areas that they would be in, and we'd have to say, hey, you got to call Misty Lee. What areas are you in then?
So it's funny because I service like over 13 counties, and that seems like a lot, but all those counties are within 30 miles of each other, 30 to 35 miles of each other. And it just depends on if you have family here, obviously you have to talk about that, like where will your most of your entertainment will be, your job, schools.
Sure.
Even though that's a 35 minute mile radius, it could take an hour and a half just to get into drive into Washington, D.C. So just understanding the needs, budget, obviously, some counties are more costly than other counties, and extracurricular activities. So you're talking about golf courses, you're talking about wineries, you're talking about restaurants, are you a food chain restaurant? Are you okay with that? If you're not, you'll probably be eating more into the Arlington area. And it just depends on the person's lifestyle.
Sure. That's awesome. Well,
Yes.
good. Well, very good. Well, anything else to add about your area or your market? I would love to just keep talking more about your story, but obviously we don't want to spend all night. So
So
that's awesome.
this market is just a really, really fast pacing, moving market. The inventory in our market is less than a week. So we encourage people that are looking to buy to have everything in order ahead of time. That's financing, that's having money moved into proper accounts. That's any kind of paper trails for finances that you need to do. There's a lot of international. So if you're having money wired, all those things come into play. There's a lot of cash buyers out here too. So verification of funds, just making sure you have all of those things in place ahead of time because the market is moving very, very fast.
Sure. Yeah. So one thing we're having, I don't want to say trouble with, but is sellers are afraid to put their home on the market because they know it's going to sell and they may not be able to find what they want to move to.
Mhm.
So is that something that, what are you seeing sellers do to, in a way, protect themselves?
So a lot of sellers out here are building. So we see a lot of people that are doing new builds.
Hmm,
So obviously new builds with the cost of lumber and stuff can take about a year. So they probably planned the year before
okay.
in anticipation of selling the next year. We have a lot of people that have recognized one, they could be getting older or some health issues and they're deciding to move in with other family in the area.
Okay.
And they're renovating their houses to make them bigger or the basement more functional for a separate family in the basement. It's funny that like just now I got um somebody called me because they want to rent out their basement because of the lack of, so it's a lot of written out basements here because they have the kitchen, they have the stove, the microwave, dishwasher and stuff. So a lot of people are buying the bigger houses and renting out a portion of their house.
Wow.
So
How
yeah.
interesting.
So and I mean the multi-family houses, like we see a lot of that too, where the builders are recognizing that. And so they're doing suites. So in-law suites on one side. So you have a half kitchen because you can't have a full kitchen, of course, because of code, washer and
Okay.
dryer, things like that on the other side of the house. So it's a lot of people being creative of how to get around the housing issues.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's interesting to hear how they're getting around it. People living in basements and just being creative and new home construction too. I mean, that's something obviously in Illinois and here in Central Illinois we don't have a lot of, but sounds like you have a lot of that. And then we are seeing more people that are building homes now, but it's the same thing. It's still hard to get materials and everything.
It's hard to get materials, yes, because of the cost, and you have to make sure the cost makes sense in the area.
Yes, yes. So you talked a little bit about buyers there and being prepared and having all their money lined up and everything, approved. I want to mention that, after this, starting at 5 o'clock, Hope Tucker from our office actually is going to be doing a home buyer presentation that basically says, are you ready to buy a home? And it's for first time buyers. It's for move up buyers. And a lot of times we work with people and they already live in a home and they're moving to their next home or their dream home. And they come to us and go, we have a home, but that was 15 years ago. Like I haven't bought a home in 15 years. So remind me what that process is. So we've built a 7-step process really of, what it takes to buy a home, and Hope's going to be on here at 5 o'clock to walk everybody through that too. So
Yeah.
if you've got anybody that that you want to join that, have them do that. And if anyone else, if they can't get onto this, we do that once a month. We host that also.
Yeah, and we'll make sure we have everybody's information in the comments and stuff when we reshare this on social media.
Perfect.
Chris has a really good team over there. I've known Chris for, oh my God, like Chris, we're not gonna say how long we known each other,
Oh, I know, I know.
but it's been a long time, which every encounter I had with Chris has been good and honest. So I thank you for that too, Chris, when I refer my clients over to you.
Absolutely. And I think how we really reconnected was probably last year, when we had a situation where we said, hey, I need I need listings. I need homes to sell to buyers. We have buyers. We need a home to sell. And you actually referred us a couple people, and one of those we were able to get it on the market. And we worked with them. It was parents' home, and we worked with them on getting furniture out, getting it
Mhm.
ready to sell, and prepping for sell. And it's a process. We understand that it's hard. Sometimes it's emotional too. And it's when
Yeah.
it's mom's house or mom and dad's house, that's harder, and it's hard work. We know that it is hard work. You don't realize how much stuff you have in a house until you got to get
They
everything
don't.
out of every closet.
People don't really realize that. And for the sellers too, like Chris made a point, it's emotional. We never press people to sell, 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 even in this type of market. But both Chris and I just basically position ourselves as to be informative. You may have an issue with, okay, I have this that needs to be done to my house prior to listing it. Chris and I
Yep,
both have contractors that we work with to help you prepare your house for the market. So don't feel like it's a burden to us. We have the resources to and probably the solution to help you to get through that process.
absolutely. Do you yeah, so when it comes to selling, I mean, we painters, carpet people, lawn people, there's always these things that you've been meaning to do for quite a while. And we're also good too about saying, hey, don't no, don't go redo the bathroom right now. Don't go
Mhm.
spend $15,000, like, or $20,000. My goal always is, how can we spend $3,000 to $4,000 that's going to sell for $10,000 more?
Absolutely.
That's what we're trying to do.
So, Chris, I want to ask you a little bit about your market. Tell me a little bit what you're seeing in the Illinois market and how you're positioning Main Place to be the top competitor there. I mean, the top agency in the area.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been really interesting is we've had a lot of people moving from the higher priced markets, from the coast and from the south, especially the southwest, the Texas, Arizona, California. And when this first started, you get these calls and think there's no way somebody is moving from Texas to Decatur, Illinois, or Forsyth or Mount Zion. And the more we talked to people, we heard them saying, the market is up so much. I'm making 40% more on my house than I thought it was ever worth. I can't rebuy. I've always wanted to live in the Midwest,
Mhm.
which ironically, people that are from the Midwest want to live in the South, but
Right.
people from the South, they go, we want to live in the Midwest. We want to,
Yes.
we want to have seasons and cold. I don't know why, but there are some that do. Not you, huh?
Not me anymore.
No, no. So we really have had a heavy amount of people from out of state that are moving to Central Illinois. And we know it's also happening in Springfield and Bloomington, and Champaign with university is very popular right now too. Another Central Illinois market that's done very well recently is Bloomington.
Mm,
They have Rivian, which is an electric truck manufacturer, has
okay.
taken over an old car plant up there. And so that's also driving people, no pun intended with the truck manufacturer, but driving people to relocate to Central Illinois, working there. And then what's happening is they're getting to Bloomington, which is a very robust market right now. Prices are
Mhm.
higher. Even people there are going, well, I could live in Decatur and it's a 45-minute commute, which
Right.
is you know, familiar to any other city dweller, as you know now too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we've got a great team of experienced agents. We've got some other agents that have been with us, you know, for 4 or 5 years now, and have just, you know, built their experience along the way. And our thing is, you know, really working with people and helping people understand that it is a process. It's not an easy process. I say we're not going to put a TV commercial out that says, you know, we make home buying and selling easy and
No,
fun. It's work. It is
it's
work.
work.
It's stressful. It's, you know, emotionally draining. Financially, it can be expensive. You know,
Yep.
you're competing, you're throwing thousands of dollars around in a phone call. Oh, sure, we'll go with 5. No big deal.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. Do you want it or not? So we understand that, and we really, again, take care to make sure, you know, we're putting our buyers in the right situation when they're buying a home, and for the sellers that we're helping protect them too, you know, because they don't want to end up homeless. They want to get as much money as they can, you know, but they
Yeah.
also need to make sure they have somewhere to go too.
And we all have a fiduciary responsibility to our clients. And so, of course, like Chris said, that their interest comes first before our interests.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
that's great. So any advice you would have, I mean, for if there was somebody in the Decatur area or Mount Zion or Forsyth area, I mean, what advice would you have for them for selling? I mean, what are you seeing in your market that we could bring back to our sellers here?
So what I'm seeing is if you are a seller, um, and you're contemplating of selling, the first thing you need to do is contact Chris or your agent. The being an informed seller will help you tremendously in making a decision. Um, so that's the biggest thing is education of why you should sell and the funds that you'll get. Is there other opportunities? And Chris and I didn't even talk about second home opportunities or investment properties or um, um, 4-unit homes. We didn't even touch on that. So there's other opportunities, especially with the interest rates being so low right now. There's other things with the equity that you have in your house that you could be doing that is missed opportunities that a lot of people are missing. But sellers, just being an informed seller um, of the cost, your worth, your neighborhood, your appreciation. Are you doing the right thing? Could you buy up and make it a multi-family home use? Because everybody wants to go or live in a certain area. So how can we work together to make that transition?
Right. Wow. I mean, the equity opportunity, rental, we didn't even talk about that. I mean, there's a lot more we could cover. So we should probably
Yeah.
just agree to do this again sometime.
Yes, absolutely.
But the equity opportunity, I do want to hit on that real quick is, you know, in an appreciating market, someone may be able to say, hey, we can borrow out on our existing property and buy an investment property or move up and rent out the one that they're moving out of.
Yes.
We are seeing a lot of that of, you know, maybe people that had that first time home, you know, but now they're married and have their first child and they're moving up. They're not selling that first home. They're throwing it on for rent, and the rents are higher now too. So
Yep.
I imagine the rental market in your area is crazy also.
Well, it's the rental market is moving just as fast as the home buying market. So there
Mhm.
is a shortage of rental properties as well too. So there's always an opportunity for buyers and sellers. So I try
Yep.
to train my clients as buyers and sellers to look at every purchase or sell as an investment, not that you're going to stay there forever. We're looking at this is an investment. You're not going to stay here forever. How can you leverage your primary residence to move up into, for more wealth?
Right. Yep. Absolutely. Well, good. Well, I think we want to wrap up here so that we can get on to the home buyer presentation. So,
Yes.
Misty, if people want to find you, how do they find you?
Well, obviously you can go to mistyleerealestate.com. I'm also on Facebook under Misty Lee for my business page. Instagram, you can go under Misty at real estate _ real estate. So I'm everywhere, YouTube. Or call Chris. Invite.
I'll connect you.
I'm not too hard to find. LinkedIn. So
Good. Very
yeah.
good.
And for you, Chris?
Yep, we're at mainplace.us. So mainplace.us and numbers 422-3335. We've got a full office here, right here in downtown Decatur. So
absolutely. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. Thank you, Misty. Good to see you. We
too.
appreciate it. And we will definitely be in touch.
Absolutely. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. All right.
Bye-bye.